My goal, man, is just to help as many people change their financial family tree as much as possible. Most drivers aren't even on YouTube or on social media. If you're driving a pickup truck, you should probably sell it. That's a $5 fix versus getting a whole $100 tire. That's why I really am trying to make 100K this year. I'm gonna try to change my oil myself for the first time. And if I'm able to help people make money, the only money I could spend between Key West and Maine was the money I made doing Uber Lyft on the way up in different cities, even if I am paid by Uber and Lyft. Eric says, I appreciate your content, Tristan. If you could see what drivers are making in Phoenix, Arizona, that will help me to know if I'm working efficiently. I'll show you. Yeah, I'll pull it up. So Phoenix, Arizona, top driver last week made $1,657. Number 2 made $1,344. Number 3 made $1,321. So hold on, there's still 7 drivers that made more than me, but it's probably similar to my market right now. And you guys are probably in your slow season too. And you guys are actually competing with autonomous driving, right? Waymo is operating in your city. Oops, I didn't want to do that. But yeah, Waymo is operating in your city. Oh, poor Albany people. So I will say legitimately, there are some markets where you're not gonna make a lot of money. But I will also say, no matter what industry you work in, if you want to make the maximum amount of money, you're gonna have to move. And if you don't want to move, that's okay. I'm not saying that you should move. But if I don't also don't think you should be the thing I'm about to say. I don't think anyone should be a long-term driver, but if you want to be, that's okay. There's nothing against it, as long as you're prepared for the slow decline of pay. That's fine. But if I was trying to be a long-term driver, I'd move back to New York City, because no matter what industry, it could be computer science, it could be railroading, whatever. People always had to move for jobs. So sometimes that's just what it is. Sometimes your market isn't a good market. A lot of people default to the market being the problem instead of trying to figure out what they can do to improve, right? Both can be true. The market could be the problem and you could also improve. Eric says, truth, brother, stop making excuses and start making progress. I like that. I'm gonna have to write that down somewhere. Stop making excuses and start making progress. I butchered it. But I like that. I like that a lot. The Driven Dad says, what's up? Haven't heard from you in a while. Welcome back. You're probably out there grinding more than me. The Driven Dad, like, he's on it. Go check out his content. He's always on it. Northern Landscaping wants me to check Washington, D.C. He says, I'm interested in coming back to do Uber and Lyft in D.C. Before COVID, I just do 15 grand a week on 55 hours. Let me do some quick, I'll look for you, but let me do some quick math to see like what that works out per hour, because it makes it easier on my brain. 1,500 divided by 55. 27. That's not bad. That's pretty decent. And 55 hours is not terrible either. When I was a district manager, I'll tell you guys this as I look and scroll for Washington, D.C. I don't know if it'll be under Washington or D.C. But when I was a district manager, I was scheduled to work 50 hours a week. And I probably worked more than that most times, even when I was a store manager. DC. So like for me, working 50 hours a week while sitting in a car, easy. You're talking 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 8 hours a day. What is that? I'm not gonna make up numbers. 8 times 7. So 8 hours a day, 7 days a week is 56 hours. It's not crazy. And you can take a break whenever you want. A lot of people aren't even like aware of how much worse it could be in corporate America. I'm not gonna make it say that that's better. So all right, let me focus. Ooh, top driver in Washington, 2,068. Driver number 2, 1,719. Washington number 3, 1,522. So we have 12 people who've made more money than I've made. And let's also go back in time a little bit to see if they had a slow period as well last week. I assume they have college and universities there. So 1,600, yeah. So they experienced the same slow period that I experienced last week. Yeah, so Washington looks like a pretty decent place. I know it's expensive, but I know that you can live an hour outside of Washington to have like more normal cost of living and then drive into the city. But I also know that Washington is on the border of a lot of places, and sometimes you can't pick up where you drop off and things of that nature. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I know there's some restrictions there. Fun fact, I've tried to drive in every state that touches the water on the East Coast. I have a video where I drove from Key West. I drove all the way down to Key West. I filled up my gas tank, and then the only money I could spend between Key West and Maine was the money I made doing Uber Lyft on the way up in different cities. So I had to learn real quick which states and cities I couldn't drive in. It was a fun video. It's gonna take a while to edit it, but I can't wait. I can't wait to share that with you guys. I expect that to be like my biggest video. And I've been sitting on it for like almost a year now. Matcha says, I haven't driven in a while, but I'm probably going back to it soon to pay off debt. Chicago market, baby. Be careful in Chicago. I'm not trying to spook you, but all the really, really bad news I see comes from Chicago. So, just be smart about your pickups. Keep your head on the swivel out there. I know that's probably one of the worst places to live crime wise, but I'm from a big city as well. So, I mean, New York's not as bad as Chicago, but I get it. So just be safe up there. I'm pro pay off debt. I'm following the Dave Ramsey plan. It's an aggressive way to do it, but I'm working on a rideshare plan. I want to give rideshare drivers a list of things that they should have financially at minimum. So, for example, like rideshare insurance, which is like for me, extra $100, what their emergency fund should be like, in retrospect to what the insurance premiums might be if you get into a car accident. So I'm working on like a list of things, like a financial list rideshare drivers should have at minimum so that they can be more safe financially speaking when it comes to rideshare. But I'm super pro pay off debt. I just paid off my car 2 months ago, made a video about that. And the only thing that's left to pay off is me and my wife's student loans. And that's why I really am trying to make 100K this year. Island Blue says Hawaii in the house. I know that I've seen some guy in Hawaii during the winter months. He was pulling in like $4,000 a week with DoorDash. I want to look at it real quick. I don't think he's gonna eat, well, 2000. I mean, he was crushing it during like December, but I can't go any further back than that. But I remember seeing some guy from Honolulu. He was absolutely killing it. Absolutely killing it. Iman says, Tristan, you're doing a great job. I'm learning a lot and I'm doing great in my market because of your strategies. I appreciate it. And, I'm thankful for it. I had to accept that if I wanted to do this and share strategies, people who are in my market are going to be in direct competition with me. And I became okay with that. I realized the pond is not as big as I thought it was. Most drivers aren't even on YouTube or on social media. They don't know what's going on. So I am happy that I'm able to reach people, and helping one person make more, like making money is important. Like it enables you to do so much. And if I'm able to help people make money, that's why I started my YouTube channel. Originally, it wasn't for rideshare. Originally, I'm a first generation American. I'm technically a second generation, but my mom was born in Jamaica and she came to America and had me. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm the first generation true American, and she is American now. But you get what I'm saying. And I started learning about the stock market and how retirement works, and that there are things that people can do to never have to like work again. And it takes work to get to it. And they call it the FIRE movement or whatever it is. And I'm like, everyone needs to know this information. So I started my YouTube channel wanting to like talk about finances and things like that. But those videos are boring, right? No one wants to click on a video like how to retire in 30 years, right? No one's thinking about that stuff. So when I started doing rideshare, I was like, all right, let me wrap my content around rideshare, right? There's more of an immediate need for it. And then while I'm trying to help people with their immediate need, I can start to like, convince them to start doing better with their personal finances. And so I'm going to start doing a little more of that. But yeah, my goal, man, is just to help as many people change their financial family tree as much as possible. So I'm here for it. Eric says, yeah, don't listen to the haters, man. You're doing a great job and I enjoy your valuable tips to do better and make more money. Appreciate you, man. And I appreciate you for watching. I'm also a anime fan. My wife loves Dragon Ball Z, and I appreciate the picture you got up, the throwbacks. How much the driver's making in Hawaii? I already read your mind and I checked you out. It is pretty low. Hawaii is probably a small market too, man. Give me a name of another Hawaii city, and then I'll try to look it up. Eric says, yes, those numbers are actually not that bad. If I dedicate the time, I know I can do 1,900 weekly. So thanks for showing me. Yeah, and just always keep in mind, the amount of money you make gross isn't equal to the amount of money you make net. Make sure you have a good card for it. If you're driving a pickup truck, you should probably sell it and get something smaller, get something more efficient. Just try to do what you can to lower your expenses. If something's wrong with your car, always watch a couple YouTube videos to figure out if it's something you can fix, right? I have tire plugs. I made a video on tire plugs. It didn't perform well, and that's fine. But whenever there's a nail in my tire and it's not in the sidewall, I'm plugging it. And that's a $5 fix versus getting a whole $100 tire, so see what you can do on your own. If I went with the dealership to fix my airflow sensor, which needs to be replaced, it's $700. I looked it up on YouTube. The airflow sensor, I can get it for $100 and I can do it myself. It's not that complicated. Now, sometimes I'll look at something and I'm like, okay, this is out of my scope, but at least research it to see if you can do it. I also, today, before the sun goes down, I got to get off soon. I'm going to try to change my oil myself for the first time, right? And that's going to take my average oil change cost down from $100. I have to use like synthetic oil, it's expensive, to about $40. So I'm doing what I can to save money in addition to making money. $300 a day, that's pretty good, depending on how many hours you're putting in. If you're putting in 12 hours to make 300, that's good. Yeah, man. Eric says, yeah, man, my car is perfect for the job. I have a 2013 Prius V. I want a Prius V so badly. That gets me about 40 miles per gallon. Love it. Always finding ways to maximize income while reducing expenses. No worries, man. Have a productive day. The car I picked my car before I started rideshare. I have a Volkswagen Jetta, and I want to buy a Prius so badly. Like, if something happens to my car, it's gonna be a Prius. In fact, once I'm debt free, I might buy a Prius. Once I'm debt free, I'm gonna buy a Prius regardless, and I'll probably put my Volkswagen on Toro. The Driven Dad says, by the time I figured it out, you are using the Ramsey plan. I decided to do that too. Great minds think alike. I love it, man. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Oh, you're gonna you have so many kids. You're gonna change all of their lives. All of their lives. Iowa says, what's up, bro? What's up? I see you. I didn't really know you were a mod for The Amazing Hustler, but I see you doing your mod thing. Northern Landscaper says, can you make a video about top 10 metro cities to do Uber and Lyft 2024? Yeah, I'll do that next week when I have a little more time. I'll go through, I'll do some research and figuring out where the top 10 cities are. And then I'll show people I'm not in the top 10. Ron says, take what Jeep says with a grain of salt. Yes, I have started doing that. The problem that stirs my soul is that he keeps, whenever he calls my name, he always makes up these like crazy examples. He's like, oh, Tristan's out there taking 30-cent a mile rides, when I've never done that. It's not true. So it does bother me a little, because it's the rideshare space. People who view his content are going to watch that, and they're going to see my thumbnails and my videos, not click on them, because they already have this preconceived notion of what my strategy, and they don't, right? And I think that my strategy actually makes more money. So I'm not going to tell people to do cash rides unless they do it properly. So that's one. So whatever. He wants to talk about cash rides, he could talk about cash rides, fine. I'm not going to do that. My strategy will always be focused on what drivers can do in the app to make more money, and what drivers can do in their personal lives to cut down on the money they spend so that they can run their business more efficiently. Because that's what I'm doing. And I think that I do that better than other people. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I'm trying to refocus on not focusing on what's going on out there, and keep focused on who's in here with me. So that's what my plan is. RKO 1988 says, there's no way this is happening. He's either paid by Uber and Lyft. How can I respond to that? Give me a way to prove to you that that's not the case. I just showed you how much other drivers are making across the market. And then first, hold on. Let's back up. Let's back up. I get this a lot, so I'm glad I have the opportunity to now address this. Why would Uber pay me money and Lyft also pay me money? Don't you think that if they were paying me money, that they would have a clause in their contract to where I couldn't talk about the other? Don't you think that might be the case? And then even if I am paid by Uber and Lyft, I just showed you proof on the apps of how much money I'm making. So let's say they're slipping me money behind closed doors. On the app, I showed you proof of how many hours I'm working and how I'm making money. I showed you my $20 an hour day. I showed you my $35 an hour day. So I want you to sit on that and consider that. If you have good responses to that, put them in chat so that I can walk through them and see what's going on. The second thing, it is more expensive for you to think that I'm being paid by Uber and Lyft or lying than to heed my words, to take my advice. You don't get anything. I'm gonna calm down a little bit. I'm gonna make sure I'm not attacking you, but you will make more money believing what I say than thinking I'm lying. The only problem is, if you believe what I say, then you probably have to accept that there is something you're not doing that could be making you more money. And I think that's what it is for a lot of people. They don't want to accept the idea that, man, I've been doing this wrong for a while. You know, I'm not making as much money as other people in my market. And even though Uber and Lyft are taking advantage of drivers, there are still other drivers out there who are making money. You have to accept that if you want to go out there and start making more money. You have to consider the way you have been living life, the way you have been doing the things that you do is inadequate. And that's okay. I realize that about me in different aspects of my life all the time. Sometimes I have to sit back, take a step back. I'm being an inadequate YouTuber. How can I get better? I'm being an inadequate rideshare driver. How can I get better? I'm being an inadequate husband. How can I get better? I'm being an inadequate parent. How can I get better? It's important for you to always strive to get better. Even when you think you're the best, if you want to stay the best, you need to always focus on, how do I improve? Process improvement needs to be number one when it comes to running your business, when it comes to running your life. So there you go. But I do officially want to say I'm not being paid by Uber or Lyft. I have no contact with Uber and Lyft outside of any other Uber or Lyft driver. I don't even think they know I exist. So there you go. There's a Business Insider article where a driver made over $110,000 from Uber and Lyft in 2022, but took home only $14,000 after 6 years on the job. He's working towards a degree in a new career.